So Conway the Machine is very frustrated with New York's structure, DJ structure, the hierarchy, and old heads that are pretty much in the way. So he snapped on Funk Flex on a live, I believe it was a live that was recorded, screenshot. You know how they do that. And basically what he was saying was a lot of the older DJs in New York, they don't look for new artists in the New York area. But all they do is stay up underneath artists that come in from out of town. He mentioned Future as a reference. And anybody that's popular, that's who they play. He says that Funk Flex has always said he doesn't really rock with them, but none of the DJs in the area that are the OGs play Griselda's music. And he also mentioned that it's not like the South, it's not like Detroit, it's not like the West Coast where all of those cultures and they support each other, which is very true, especially in the South. I don't know if it's necessarily like that in the West, but the South has always been that way. Pete Rock actually replied and said, get his foot off of New York radio. It's like they wanted real hip hop suppressed so that other music wins. All music wins, but to stifle real ones that are carrying the torch is a crime. So Funk Flex comes back in a long Funk Flex-esque post with mad crying, laughing emojis and a whole bunch of capital letters.
If
it's just
bombs,
like
they would have been on there too.
Thank you. But he's like, your man is by Rock Nation. You signed to Shady Records. You distributed through Interscope. You and your team have had a feature from Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, J. Cole, Jadakiss, Travis Scott, French Montana. Thank you. He's basically going down the list of all the advantages that they have, and he says you're a 40+ bars rapper, sorry lyricist that's had every resource possible. If you are not happy with your career as of today, with all them cosigns, I think you have peaked, my guy. This is what Flex says. So Flex is really getting into his character. What do y'all think about this, man? Because first of all, Griselda, I don't think they have records that people would necessarily want to play on the radio. But I'm more interested in the concept of people like Flex, I'll just say Envy or maybe Clue. Do these guys even still have that power that they're complaining about? Because he just gave you a list of all of the stuff that Conway's been able to take advantage of.
They might have some pull in New York, maybe. But my thing is there should be a point in time. It's kind of just like politics too,
right?
Where you have to let somebody else take the driver's seat and kind of, spearhead where this is going. But it surprises me that Westside Gunn is looking for radio play. Conway, my bad, is looking for radio play because they don't really make music for the radio.
What do you think about the? So you're saying, do you kind of agree with him with the? Cause you talked about maybe moving over. Conway also mentioned.
Yeah, I'm with him. You on with that? Yeah.
Because Conway also mentioned we need to start focusing on more people that are younger that have a pulse, that know the pulse, I should say, of the culture.
But there's a catch-22 with that too, because let's say they get somebody in there that so-called has this pulse,
right?
And they play the exact opposite or like the exact opposite of what he's doing, so that still doesn't help him because a lot of these younger cats don't really listen to Griselda like that. Griselda kind of appeals to the, I would say, 30 and up,
easy, probably
hip hop crowd versus the young cats. Young cats is all listening to Dirk and Lil Baby, The Baby, them type of artists, essentially.
I will say this though, when I see them performing at festivals and overseas, the crowd, when they pan and show the crowd, it's not what I thought it would look like. Now I've gone to Griselda shows and it fits what you said. But I've also seen crowds where it's full of kids that are like in their 20s jumping around. You just
hit the nail on the head. You went to a festival or seen it at a festival.
Could be the case.
So the lineup at a festival is vast.
True.
So they're not necessarily there to see Griselda or Westside Gunn and Conway. They're in attendance to see whoever the headliner is.
The only thing I saw that was good point. And the only thing I saw that was different to that was a show when Benny was on his own tour. I think it was in Amsterdam. That crowd kind of looked like the festival crowd. I was shocked about that, but that's a fair point. Jay Moore, jump in, man. What you think about what Conway is saying and More important, like, what do you think about what Pete Rock said in terms of the stifle comment?
I'll just be honest. Like, if you're a new and upcoming artist, or you're just an artist that's, out here doing whatever, because I wouldn't put anybody in Griselda as new and upcoming. Like, they are established in their own way.
100%.
Because it was very true. They do have that relationship with Rock Nation and, Shady Records, for whatever that's worth in 2022. But who cares that your music's not played by Funk Flex in 2022? You got to, Funk Flex is at least 50 years old.
50 plus.
And I'm not knocking, because, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40 at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking that. But why do you care what this dude who came up in a completely different era, like, at this point, he's an old school DJ trying to hold on and be relevant. It's still to me kind of, I'm like, is Flex still holding down the same spot he's been holding down for 20 years? They ain't made up a program director or
that. I don't know.
Probably got some kind of stake in
or some, some sort of emeritus, whatever. But I mean, why are you looking to him, honestly, to be such a, somebody that carries so much weight in this culture in 2022. Now, maybe it's regional.
Right.
Like, if you're in New York and you're, it still means a lot more, but I remember when I was 18 and I'm 45 now, Funk Flex's name, like, I remember I would buy those 60 minutes of funk, tapes that were put out on Loud.
Yeah, those were big.
It was a big deal, but, like, I don't know if anybody even, my youngins, I talked to them about Funkmaster Flex. Like, even the name sounds like some.
The tunnel ain't open no more.
Stuff.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you hear Funkmaster Flex, and you talk to somebody who's trying to, sell records to somebody who's might be 25, even 30 years old, like, who cares? And Funkmaster Flex, he is established. He is an icon in the game. But you just have to understand it. Like, his stamp doesn't mean what it meant in 1995.
Yeah.
When. Or what it meant in 2005, So I mean, and I don't. What was the Pete Rock said about?
Pete Rock said basically he's saying we got to get his foot off of New York radio. It's like they want real hip hop to be suppressed so that other music wins. All music wins. But to stifle the real ones that are carrying the torch is a crime.
Look, like I said, and for those of you who've been listening for a while, like, I come from radio and I understand what the dynamics of it are. It's not even really about art. It's about commerce. And, when you say one of you go to a restaurant,
get some scallops.
lobster, some shrimp, whatever it is that you like to do.
If you baller, you can get you some
get you, hamburger, some riblets. I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
I get tater tots.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, say a certain song is playing when you get out of the car on your local hip hop radio station.
Yeah.
When you get back into the car, basically it's programmed for that same song to be playing when you get back in the car.
Facts.
Like, if you're looking for art in commercial radio, then I'm sorry, I don't know what you've been thinking about this entire time. Like, I remember when, because I got my first job in radio when I was still in college, and I remember I would talk to, like, my classmates. They'd be like, "Man, I just love music. That's why I want to get into radio." And even at that time, if you get into radio because you love music, it'll break your heart.
Every single time.
You know what I'm saying? You have to get into radio. And this is for anybody who might have an internship right now or has dreams of being the next mix show guy or getting on and thinking that your DJ skill is going to change the world. I'm sorry, it's not. You will get there and they will have a list of songs that are approved for you to play. If you move outside of that, you will if it's the weekend, you'll never be one of those mix show weekends where they get people to come in and submit mixes. If you go outside that format, you'll never be invited back again. And or if you're on the air and you decide you're going to be like, "Yo, I heard the greatest hip hop song I've ever heard in my entire life, and I'm going to play that," you will be immediately fired. Do not think that this is about art at all.
Business.
This is about business.
WWE.
This is about selling commercials. This is about getting to the next stop set. So all I'm telling you, and the thing is, I learned this. Oh gosh, this has to be almost 25 years ago. And the fact that we're still having these same conversations, maybe it just needs to be said again for another generation. West Side Gun, not West Side Gun, but Conway, I love you as an artist. I think you're dope, but you gotta, if you worried about getting on the radio, Funkmaster Flex is beholden to the same shareholders and people who need to sell commercial space as every other DJ. So if you think it's about your art and you being dope, it just doesn't work like that. And you need to stop thinking about Funkmaster. He is not holding you back. You are going to do your thing regardless.
Here's where I agree with Conway, though. This is the part that I did agree, and then, Lone, I'm coming to you. I like that he said these guys, or whoever, you know, we'll just call it the older guard or whatever. The point that he hit on when he said you guys aren't actively looking for new talent here, speaking about New York. I actually agree with that. I don't know if these guys are really beating the streets to find.
But what's Flex gonna do?
I'm not saying Flex is the golden goose. No. I'm just saying I don't know.
You're prohibited from doing that.
Yeah, nobody does that.
You're prohibited. It's not
like
even,
we literally just had this conversation before we started about local artists.
Oh yeah,
wanting their songs to be on the radio. It just doesn't work like that unless there's a specific time frame where they're getting played. And that still doesn't necessarily benefit that artist.
I don't even know if it's, maybe it's not necessarily about, as it relates to the new artists in their area. Maybe it's not about radio play as much as it's about just giving artists that are local artists in New York some type of look.
The problem is people still hold New York at that same standard that they held them to in the 80s and 90s, where New York was the mecca for this thing we call hip hop.
Yeah, that's gone.
It has since evolved, and a large percentage of the artists don't live in New York now.
Yep.
So those artists that are in New York are now in the same places that a lot of us were living around the country, as far as trying to get on, and I mean, it's still going on here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
True.
We never really got that fair shake in the hip hop scene other than 𝐀𝐁, and he's just making plays elsewhere. He didn't start making plays here.
Right.
So that's, I think, where he's coming from, him being from Buffalo and him being in that same mind state that he might have been back in the 90s. He's still looking at them for validation when he doesn't need it. He already has all the validation he needs to be
Funk Flex listed the stuff that's helped him.
But this is the thing.
To his point.
You know,
hold on real quick, Jay. I haven't heard from you yet. What do you think about just the overall the conversation? I know you've heard everybody speak.
I don't have anything to contribute because you guys have said stuff.
Oh, we covered it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're gonna have to ask me something specific, because like all right.
You and me do we find something different.
No, I mean,
there's layers to it now. We can go layers.
No, I mean, all right. So I feel like multiple things can be true at the same time. So yeah, Flex can be a gatekeeper, right? Which he is. But to Jay's point, everything Jay was saying is true. Everything Terry was saying was true. I mean, it's like, yes, Flex is a gatekeeper. He has this like prestigious type of role. He's this person in the hip hop community. He's got this radio show. He has the bars thing that he has videos for when he brings people up,
freestyles,
and the freestyles and all that stuff. And he's a clown.
Definitely.
We all know this, but sorry, he is.
Oh yeah, he's one of the most corny legends ever. He's a legend.
You know, like, what do you want from him? You know, that's the other thing that I think, like as somebody that has had a platform, like Terry and I ran a hip hop platform for a very long time, and there's only so much that you can do sometimes too. And even when we ran a blog, like, we can't sign you. We can't, like, we can help people. We can help people the best that we can. And I think we did a good job at that for what we could do. But, you know, Flex, at the end of the day, to Jay's point, he's a part of a system that's bigger than him.
Right.
Unless you're asking Flex to go out and start something separate with his name and do something for you or your type of artist that you want, like, I feel like the anger is misguided and it's just kind of directed in the wrong way.
Yeah. Like I said before, the tunnel has been long gone.
It's true.
That, and I'll tell you, this is every artist. Look, I'm looking right at the camera, which is something you shouldn't do.
There you go.
But there you artists, anybody who's an artist out there, having your song played a couple times on the radio means absolutely nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You know, this isn't the day where, okay, like we've all seen like the music biopics where they're like, hey, you guys, your song is playing on the radio, and then all of a sudden their life changes.
It's over.
It doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't mean anything if your song comes on in the club once.
Right.
And to be honest,
you guys are looking for the magic bullet for these things to turn you into an overnight success. Even the people who look like overnight successes aren't overnight successes.
Right.
I think
it doesn't work like that anymore.
The misguided part, I believe you said, Lone. Well, actually, everybody. One thing I did notice is with Conway, he was like, we're here. We already made it. We're here. But, and then he started talking about flex and all that. So
is he talking about it from an angle of like flex could have helped us get here faster?
I think what really triggered this was flex has consistently been like, Griselda is not who they say they are as it relates to the old guard, the stuff that Pete Rock was talking about. Like he even put on one of his comments on IG, you're nowhere near the locks. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the things that Flex has always consistently said.
The locks have been around since 1990. Like you're talking about a group that's 25 years in the game.
But Griselda is looked at as the guys that have taken the flag for that, right? So if the OGs, the guys that are in the 50s or whatever, even just don't rock with them, don't play the records or have anything negative to say, you know, it might be just the mentality. We grew up on y'all. We want y'all to be able to rock with us, and you're in New York. Like the New York thing is where he's really coming from. Like we're from New York. You guys are big guys in New York. What's up? That's the way I read it. That's the way I understand it from watching the video.
That's cool, but I'll be like just to what Terry said. I'm not trying to. I know this is going to be inflammatory, but who cares about New York at this point? New York. Go and look at a playlist from Power or Hot 97. It's more music on there from other regions than it is from. It used to be New York was its own, like it was insulated from everything else. You'd see it was in their top 20. It didn't match the top 20 anywhere else in the rest of this country. And now, you know, because once again, you know, Power is owned by Clear Channel. I'm sorry, iHeart. I'm old school like that.
That's all right.
When I worked on, they were Clear Channel. And you know, Hot 97 is owned by Emmis. Emmis is based out of Indianapolis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So do you honestly think that really is the sound of New York or the sound of the culture?
Not at all.
You know, when the headquarters is on Monument Circle in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah. And this is not to knock them. This, once again, this is a corporation. This is what they do. But at this point, you know, it used to be if your playlist in St. Louis and Memphis, LA, New York would be completely different. Now everybody plays the same Megan Thee Stallion song. They play the same Yo Gotti's, the same, you know, Drake songs. And if you're looking for something different, just because you're trying to, we want to be bigger in New York. New York is just any other local market, and it does not. It used to be if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. No, if you can make it anywhere, you can make it in New York.
Exactly.
Shout out to I'm sorry, go ahead, Long.
Yeah, and I'm gonna comment on that.
You see it?
Yeah, shouts to Mika.
Meek Dog 76.
Shouts to Meek Dog. Yeah, someone can play local music on here and it'll have a broader reach. So this stuff these are good comments. So the thing is that it's not that radio can't reach more people. It still reaches more people in general. It's just the fact that it's a rigged system and you can't win.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't get on it. So it's like kind of two separate different conversations here. It's like, I say don't pay attention to radio because it doesn't matter. It's a wasted amount of energy. Like if you're already big, radio is going to help you.
True.
It's just like the major label system. If you're already like, talk to Russ, like everybody thinks Russ is super independent, but there was a point when Russ went and signed a deal because he helped him reach another level.
Facts.
But most people aren't on that level to where they're going to get the consistency out of what radio does to help them. She also said, like, what if y'all played nap artists at a certain night and interviewed them? Like, we've done that. Like they
actually do it on this radio station on Saturdays, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Friday nights or Saturday nights?
I don't
it used to be. Was it Saturday nights?
Hot 96 used to do a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Well, I actually do it on here.
Yeah, I think it's on Saturday. I think it's on Saturday nights.
Naptown Nights, he does it, I believe.
Oh, you talking about on WQRT?
Yeah, I think it's on Saturdays. Don't quote me, but I believe it's on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are good comments, though. We appreciate you. Those
I mean,
just
think about anybody we think, just came up and. Like, what's her name? Glorilla just got signed by Yo Gotti.
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, she had already in her own way that had to be a finished project that was already a hit.
Yeah.
For, you know, there's nobody that just believed in her so much.
There's no time.
Like, that's why you don't see, like, you know, you talk about how there are no singing groups anymore.
Right.
It's because, like, you would have to be Jodeci with Forever My Lady already finished.
Already on the
Nobody's
table.
working with artists and building talent and A&R and all that other stuff.
I'm just telling you, if you're an artist out there and if you're hoping somebody believes in your talent, that they're going to throw $2 million behind you,
right?
Those days are long gone. That's never like someone like Tracy Chapman, who was basically discovered in a coffee house. That will never happen again.
But if Drew Hill wasn't jumping up and down because they wanted to on their own recognizance.
Yeah,
their record label made them do that.
Look here, man. If you polished and you can verify the views, somebody will take.
And you know what? Sometimes it does take a little bit longer. Q-Tip took Megan Thee Stallion to every record company in New York. They're like, her social media is not popping.
See,
and then like now it's 3 years later.
And now
look, or whatever, and like now she got
the baseball dude signed her first.
Yeah, and then it's been like everybody else has been trying to claim her since.
That meal,
but they literally took her to Def Jam. Def Jam was like, nah, we don't see it.
Don't she got that meal or sauce or something?
Yeah, she got.
Y'all buy that?
Yeah, the branding deal with Popeyes.
Sauce. Yeah. Y'all cop?
No, you tried it though.
I ain't tried, man.
You sip on it every night.
Stop, long. All right, man. That's good.
The one more thing I'll say,
yes, sir,
just based upon like reach and everything, is because like another comment was about Twitch and connecting on Twitch.
Yes,
like these platforms are great, and I feel like the overall sentiment is try other things because other things besides radio will work, and that's true. Twitch specifically has horrible discoverability. It is one of the worst apps for being able to discover new stuff on. That's why we only have the people that know about us that typically pop in here.
And we appreciate y'all.
And we bring people, we bring everybody here.
Yeah.
It's very rare, unless we get raided or something like that, where we get new people in here. But yes, use like TikTok, use all these other apps, do everything. And when radio comes, radio will come or it won't.
I haven't listened to the radio in...
It's been 30 years for me.
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio.
Glorilla was popping on
since I was in like
YouTube before, you know what I'm saying, she did anything else.
I mean, they go verify the numbers. It's like what you talked about with going to the labels. Well, that social media isn't. If you can provide the numbers and the views and everything to back it up, that pushes you to the front of the list. And the polish necessarily, to me, the numbers and the views outweigh the polish. Like if you got 4 million views, they don't care about this part. You got 4 million views and somebody's liking it.
It's all
because everything is so fast now. Like we've talked about this before. I remember Jay mentioning artist development. That doesn't happen anymore.
At all.
If your irons are already hot, they pick you up right now. They're not about to put any more time into what you got going on. They're gonna run with what you got going right this minute and see what happens. Same thing happened with Bobby Shmurda. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he got locked up, his record label didn't do anything else for him.
Yeah.
Because they had already signed him to that deal, made that money. At that point, they were essentially done with him.
Now he independent, complaining about beats and trying to find another one.
Well,
just think about it like this. I'm pretty sure everybody who's watching us knows who Run the Jewels are.
Oh, yeah.
They have never had one song played on the radio.
Never.
Okay.
They pack stadiums.
I don't even know if Killer Mike had anything other than when he's featured on Outkast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's off of Adidas. Maybe that was his only real commercial.
Or Whole World.
Whole World.
But that that's an Outkast song.
He was on that record with Jay too.
Poppin' Tags.
Yeah, Poppin' Tags.
But as far as like here's Run the Jewels, they can pack out any venue.
Yeah.
And they are not supported by radio in any way, shape, or form. So here it is. Like, I think a lot of artists, you got to get radio. It's nice. I mean, it'd be cool if your family can listen to you, in their car. But there are too many artists out here who are creating incredible lives for themselves, and they don't care. But they don't even make clean records.
Nas is one of them. Nas made it this far with maybe 5 radio hits.
Big hits, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, the next time I listen to the radio, if one of the homies get on the radio, I'm going to turn the radio on. Other than that,
but once
I don't
again,
care
there are
about
people who are on the radio. They get paid every 45 minutes,
yeah.
and they can't even do a club date.